Hi, I got asked for a video, and I thought I'd make it before I go to my shoot this afternoon. I wrote it out because I've tried to make this a couple of times, and I just get confused because they're just quite complex questions, and I just can't do it off the top of my head because I'm just not like that. So, what emotions do I usually feel? And at the moment, okay, in terms of life, I am a lot happier now. Like, I'm a lot more content since I started dating Kerry. I'm a lot happier with how things are going, and I'm pretty content with just everything. My favourite emotion is probably butterflies, like when you get an unexpected text that's really nice, or when someone says that they love you when you're not expecting it, or when they catch you off guard and they just say things that they know. Kerry knows exactly what to say to get me all loving and stuff. And it's one of those feelings that you can't describe, and unless you've felt it, then you don't know. But I guess being in love is one of the best emotions. I know it's not an emotion, but it really is an emotion. And I think there's a difference between being in love and loving someone. Because being in love is something that doesn't last. Loving someone is something that'll last. After you've broken up, years down the track, I think that you'll always look back at someone that you were in love with and say that you do love them. Because that is something that doesn't die out. Granted, you may not like them, and you won't admit that you still have some sort of connection, but especially during your teenage years, I think that you're always going to have a connection with someone that you are really in love with. I see all these shit posts on Tumblr that talk about how being in love is shit, and how they're never going to trust anyone again, and never going to be in love again. But, granted, in like 6 months, they'll be with another boy or girl, because it's human nature to look for a mate. As gay as that sounds. Gay. As stupid as that sounds, but biologically we look for a mate, and being in love is the emotion that we get from it, I guess. And least favourite. Sitting in the lounge room, on your couch, just watching something cool like Family Guy, or SpongeBob, or something like that, and you're just like eating your sandwich, drinking a Coke, and having a great time. And then your mum walks in, and she's like, "Jess, I need to talk to you." It is the worst feeling, because especially if you know that you've done something, and you're just like, this is the end of my life. And, oh god. Especially if you've done something, and you know you've done it, and you know that they're going to know that you've done it, and you're coming home, and you know they're at home, and they're waiting for you, and then the whole time from home you feel like physically sick, because you know that it's like being on death row and walking up to the electric chair. That is what it feels like to me. It is just like, this is it. And then it's happened to me a few times, especially if like you've come home and you know that they're waiting for you, but you're hoping that they're not, and then they're sitting at like the back table, because the way that we go through our house is like through the back patio, because our house is like on a property, so that's the way we come around, and they're just sitting there and they're looking at you, and I just want to walk back out the other way. Prime example of that, just because I remembered it. Kerry has got her phone bill over $100, £100, which is like crazy amount here. It's like almost $200. And her dad's going to find out because it's on his phone bill, and she's just waiting for him to realise and to come at her, and I cannot handle that in my life. Who do I want to keep in contact with? First and foremost, my dad. Because he's my dad, and I'll always be in contact with my mum, because your mum is your mum. But yeah, I want to keep in contact with him, no matter what shit happens. I would like for him to be. I'd like to keep in contact with him. I'd like to call him every now and again. no matter where I end up in the world or in the country, I would like to, yeah, even though he's a bit of a Billy, bit of a silly Billy. Just my friends. Even if it's just on Facebook when we're like 30, because my mum does it all the time, like she always talks to people that, I just stepped on a drawing pin. My mum always just still talks to people that she hasn't seen since like she was like, I don't know, walking to school in the snow and horse and cart and shit, like that old. And they just like chat on Facebook. She tarts with 2 fingers, it's good. But yeah, like I want to keep in contact even if it's just a little bit, just to see how everyone turns out, because I think it's really interesting. It's one of the best things is to come back and look at how everyone else has turned out and how everyone's changed. And Kerry, obviously, even if we do break up, because she's going to do something amazing with her life, even though she doesn't think that she's going to. She's going to be somebody, and I'd like to, even if we're not together, I'd still like to see how that turns out. And probably my mum's best friend, Jodie. Yeah, because we're moving overstate at the end of this year, and I know that they're going to keep in contact, but I've known her since I was like, I do not have a time period in my life that I remember where she wasn't in it. Like, there's no time period. I've known her since I was like 3. So, interesting things about me. Okay, number one. I am an animal lover. Crazy, complete animal lover. It is ridiculous. I've never killed anything intentionally. Not even mosquitoes, not even ants. Can't do it. I put a value on life as I don't value the human race any higher than anything else on earth, because in the end we're all animals, and just because I think what we've done has been done in other organisms. Like, people say that we build things and we have huge big complex areas where we live, but ants have done the same thing, termites have done exactly the same thing. It is no different. The emotions that we feel and the way that we live life is just like other animals. I watch so many documentaries. I would rather sit down and watch a documentary than sit down and watch a movie. I really enjoy them. At the moment, I'm making my way through BBC Life, and if you were one of my friends, you'd know how annoying it must be, because I just talk about it all the time, because I just find it all so interesting. Like, it's just so, I just can't explain it. It's so much more interesting than everything else. Like, I'd rather sit at home and watch BBC Life than go out with my friends. Because, I don't know, because I'm just like that. What else did I write down? What else? Yeah, leading on from that one, I'm a bit of a hermit. I never used to be this way, but nowadays I like my own space, and I think it's spoiled off. I don't know, is that even a word? No. It's sort of spurred off not being at home anymore and being in a city on my own for quite a while. So I just like my own space, and I like being on my own, and I'm quite happy to be on my own doing things. I used to own a lot of horses. I used to ride competitively, and I missed it a lot. It was the only real sport that I got into, because I'm quite uncoordinated, but I can ride horses. And my last horse that I owned was Dakota, and she got sold when I was 16. When I was little, other people wanted to be like firefighters and nurses and circus owners, and I wanted to be a dinosaur, because I had, at that stage of my documentary life, I was watching Walking with Dinosaurs and Walking with Beasts, and that was me and my brother used to go outside and play dinosaurs all the time. We used to use the lemons off our tree as eggs. I have a stutter, and I have a slight lisp. I'm pretty good at containing it, but not when I'm extremely excited, extremely tired, really hungry, anything where I'm not being able to concentrate on my words, and I often get words mixed up because I don't think about them often well. And I go to speech therapy every now and again, and I get checkups and they give me tips on how to control it. Yeah, I can read music and I can play the flute. Haven't played it for a few years, but I can when I ever pick one up, I can play it. My favourite food is fruit, and my favourite fruit is raspberries. I can go through a packet of frozen raspberries in minutes. I just consume them, I inhale them. They're just the best thing. In the end of uni, I would like to work overseas, and I'd like to work in places that I can help the most, like Iraq, or I'd like to work for Greenpeace, something like that. And that's it. So if you have any more, this is for 16 minutes. Shit. If you have any more, just let me know, and I'll answer them.